and thank you for watching. On today's show,
we have Pioneer's flagship AVIC 8100 NEX radio, navigation system, DVD player. It's got everything. Yeah, we're here to show it to you, so stay tuned. Boy, here we're gonna open it up and show you what it comes with because I know you're all dying to know. Really?
what do they have?
What does it have? It has a GPS antenna.
Okay, so tenemos la antena de la navegación.
Now, just real quick on the GPS antenna. You do not have to mount this on the outside of the car. You can mount it inside the car, under the dash, under a piece of plastic, in the corner, anywhere. It doesn't have to be outside. It's kind of a thick antenna, so, you know, every now and then we'll get these things back, and yeah, just mount it in the car. That'll work fine.
Okay.
Moving on. Bluetooth microphone.
Micrófono.
It has the 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter extension, male on one end, female on the other.
Tenemos la extensión del auxiliar.
Yeah, right. Yours is easier. Bag of screws.
Tornillos.
Now, new this year. Oh yeah, the remote control. The 8100 comes with a remote control this year. How cool is that?
So este año
It's a remote control.
este año el radio viene con el control remoto.
Even I knew that. The power plug.
Cable principal.
And even though there's two, it only comes with one. That's right, the USB extension.
Y viene obviamente con el cable del USB.
Okay, owner's manual and quick start guide. Warranty
Manual.
cards. And then, of course, the actual owner's manual.
Y por supuesto el verdadero manual de instrucciones.
It's kind of thin. Kind of skinny. I like the one customer that asked if it was a movie. I wish.
It came with a movie.
I mean, you're going to fall asleep one way or the other, but at least if it was a movie, it wouldn't feel so bad.
That's a movie?
Yeah, right?
Pioneer movie.
Yeah. Harry made them all. God, could you imagine that? That'd be good. Okay, so let's check out the back of it, and we'll go from there. All right, so it's got a couple cables coming off the back, so we'll start with those. It has the front RCA output.
Ok, so tenemos la salida de audio frontal.
Don't think too hard. The rear audio output.
Tenemos la salida de audio trasero.
And while we're on the audio outputs, it has 6 of them, and they are 4 volt, and these guys right here are for the subwoofer.
Y esa es la salida del subwoofer.
Okay, it also has a audio input for an external device.
So tenemos la entrada de audio.
And then it has a video input for said external device.
También tenemos entrada de video.
Now, other things this can be used for, and the menu setup is for a second camera. So you can use it for a front-facing, side, whatever. It's a camera input.
Ok, este también lo puedes utilizar para la cámara frontal y lo puedes hacer en los settings.
And then this guy right here is the mute input wire. This would be used for someone that is trying to retain OnStar. Okay, so now let's take a look at all the other stuff. We have the Bluetooth microphone input right here.
So tenemos la entrada del micrófono.
We have the FM antenna right here.
La entrada de la antena.
We have the Sirius XM port.
La entrada del Sirius XM.
We have the Maestro Link input.
La entrada del Maestro Link.
We have the auxiliary input.
Y tenemos la entrada del auxiliar.
We have the wired remote input.
Y tenemos la entrada de las funciones del volante.
The power plug goes right here.
El cable principal.
Gotta think about that one, huh? We have the rear audio output right here.
So tenemos la parte trasera de audio.
And then its partner right here, which is the rear video output.
Y tenemos la salida de video.
Now what these are used for is this has dual zone video capability. So if you have headrests or a second monitor like a drop down or something like that, you can use these two to feed that screen and you can do 2 things at once.
Ok, so ese también lo puedes utilizar para agregar pantallas en tu carro y te pasaría la señal.
This brown guy right here is the, not you, is the reverse camera input.
Ok, so tenemos Entrada para la cámara de reversa.
Oh, God. This hole way back here in the back is the HDMI input.
Y tenemos la entrada del HDMI.
This guy right here is for the GPS antenna.
Y esa es la entrada para la antena del GPS.
This is Pioneer's dedicated RGB input.
Y esa es la entrada para la navegación. Para el GPS, perdón.
Exactly. Alright, so then brings us to these two, lastly, which is the two USBs. Now, you have USB 1, which is right here, and that is for Apple Carplay.
Ok, so tenemos dos tipos de USB. La primera es para Carplay.
And you have USB 2, which is for a second iPod or Android Auto.
Ok, so la segunda es para un iPod o para Android Auto.
Now, don't get those mixed up. If you're trying to do Android Auto and you plug it into USB 1, nothing will happen at all. Alright, so we're going to spin it around and tell you a little bit more about it. Alright, so when you first power it up, it's going to ask you what language do you speak. So you're going to want to pick that, and when you do, it'll change the whole menu to that language. So, for example, if you pick Chinese, everything will be in Chinese. Now, there's 5 languages to choose from.
Yep. Ok, so recuerden que cuando tú prendes el radio, aparecen 5 lenguajes diferentes. Obviamente tú vas a apretar el lenguaje que tú consideras.
So we have to choose between English, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and down here, Chinese. Alright, so we'll pick English and we'll move forward. Next thing to come up is going to be our smartphone setup. Now this is going to set everything up in the radio for what type of phone you have and what type of service you want. So for example, if we have an iPhone and we're looking to do Apple CarPlay, we want to make sure we have it on USB 1. If we hit something else, notice it goes away.
Ok, so recuerden que tiene nuevo menú para tu teléfono y asegúrate que en realidad si vas a utilizar CarPlay esté en el USB 1 o si vas a utilizar Android que esté en el USB 2.
And the same is true for Android. As you can see, I have it on Bluetooth, so Android Auto disappears when I tap it back on. Now, if you want to use USB in iPhone or Android, it doesn't matter, and you don't want that service, you can just turn it off.
Ahora recuerda que si quieres utilizar el USB 1 o el USB 2, pero no quieres utilizar CarPlay o Android Auto, simplemente lo puedes apagar.
Alright, we'll move forward here. Now we'll get the big warning that says, hey, don't do anything stupid. We'll click OK, and it'll take us to our main menu, which is right here. Now, since we're on the main menu, let's talk about this radio, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
How exciting. So, since this is the flagship, what makes this radio so cool is this beautiful screen right here, which is a 7-inch LED backlit capacitive touch screen. Capacitive.
Yeah. Ok, so recuerden que tiene 7 pulgadas, es una pantalla táctil, es una pantalla motorizada y en realidad es como la pantalla de tu teléfono.
Now you're asking yourself, what? Capacitive, what? What's the difference between a capacitive touch and the clear resistive screen? Well, the capacitive touch, just to give you an idea, is the same screen you have on your phone. Which, that means it has more points for your finger to touch, which means it can be more accurate and more responsive. It also takes a bigger processor to make that happen, which means this radio is better.
Yep.
And also, it's really, really shiny. And people like shiny stuff, so the capacitive touch is the #1 seller.
Boom.
Boom. Okay. It is a motorized display with a DVD player and an SD card. Let's demo it.
Okay. So recuerden que tiene una pantalla motorizada.
Alright, if you hit the... Oh, go ahead.
Y obviamente tiene... I'm sorry. Y obviamente tiene el SD card.
Alright, so if we hit the eject button here, we're going to have a couple options. CD DVD, SD card, or tilt screen, which we'll go over. But first we'll hit the CD DVD. Now that'll open it up all the way, and this is where a CD DVD player goes. Well, disc, not player. This is the player. This is where the SD card goes. And then this little guy over here is for the auto EQ. It's a microphone input. We'll get to that later when we talk about the EQ.
Okay. Good.
We're good? Alright, let's hit the eject button again. I'll close it up. Now, the tilt screen, this will allow you to, because this is real shiny, it's like a mirror, sometimes you get a glare. So you can actually do this to take the glare away. And then you just keep pressing it and it'll eventually close. How exciting. Okay. Now, it has multicolor display for the buttons as well as the screen. There's 5 colors to choose from for the display and as many colors as you could possibly think of for the buttons on the bottom. We'll go over that. It has a bunch of backgrounds as well as you can create your own. It has a new dimmer and brightness control. And let's demo it. So
Okay.
go ahead and talk.
So recuerden que este tiene 5 tipos de colores para la pantalla y de los botones de abajo es obviamente multicolor. Tú puedes agregar el que tú quieras o customizar lo que tú quieras.
I heard Dookie. Now, when you find the display that you like, you just click Apply. If you notice the 2 grayed out ones here, those are for your own images that you can import via an SD card or the USB.
So recuerden que este tiene 13 protectores de pantalla. Cuando tú escojas el que tú quieras, por favor aprieta el botón de arriba, que es lo que va a seleccionar.
Arriba. You can also make the bottom buttons match any color you want. So if your dash is purple, you can make them purple. If it's a funky yellow, you can make it a funky yellow. If you want to dim it down some, you can go ahead and dim it down some. Alright, we'll go back. And then the themes, these are going to be the actual screen. As you can see, there's 5 to choose from. Oh, go back. You can have it, so we have kind of an orangish color in the dash. We'll go ahead and do that. And then last but not least is the clock. What type of clock do you want? Alright, so this radio is pretty much all set up now. We have the colors we want. We have the phones ready to go. Alright, so this guy has Bluetooth, and it has both types of Bluetooth. It has hands-free calling as well as streaming music. And it has a really awesome streaming music. It sounds amazing. But most importantly, it has a more amazing sounding Bluetooth for talking. Talkie. Pioneer likes to call it wideband speech recognition. Yeah, wideband speech recognition.
Yes.
Basically what it means is it's double the amount of bandwidth that it had in previous or older radios. So you sound crisper, cleaner, more depth to your voice. So when people are talking to you, they don't go, "Are you talking in a tin can? Are you?" No. Okay, it sounds like it. Anyways, so it sounds a lot better. It also has Siri Ice Free, as well as whatever the Android equivalent is. So, go ahead.
Ok, so recuerden que este tiene Bluetooth. Y Pioneer ahorita está utilizando una banda mucho más ancha para llamadas y para la música inalámbrica. So, obviamente, cuando tú llames a cualquier tipo de persona, va a sonar, el audio es mucho mejor, el sonido es mucho mejor. Para las personas que tienen iPhones, el Siri Ice Free, que es el control de voz, y para las personas de Android, cualquier tipo de formato que tenga el teléfono, eso es lo que hace.
Call Fernando Lopez.
Calling Fernando Lopez.
Anyways, you get the idea. That's how that works. Now, as far as the music goes, you can do Pandora over Bluetooth audio for iPhone and Android, and you can do Bluetooth audio. Now, when you're doing Bluetooth audio, you can stream anything you want. It doesn't have to be Pandora or music on the phone. It can be any service. So if you're doing Spotify,
Radio,
you name it, it'll stream it over Bluetooth. It won't give you like search through your files. It'll just give you track up and down, which is usually enough. Once you get to the folder you want, press play, boom. You don't like the song, hit next. Yeah. But for Pandora, it'll give you all the controls. You can go in, just tap this right here, and then here's all your playlists that you can go, and then you tap that one. It'll go ahead and switch over, and boom. It's that hard. You can do Pandora station creation. You can do all that fun stuff. We have videos and all that. You can check it out. Now, the one thing I will tell you is you notice you get cool little album artwork over here. If you switch it to Bluetooth audio, you do not. I don't know why, but Bluetooth audio, whether it be, it doesn't matter. No Bluetooth audio on an iPhone, for example, will give you album artwork. Android phone, it's on a case-by-case basis, whether you're going to get it or not. Some do, some don't. I don't know. Don't ask me, I didn't build the piece. But that's Bluetooth audio. How cool.
So, recuerden que Pandora te da el álbum en esta parte de aquí. Cuando tú lo cambias acerca de Bluetooth, quita el álbum. No sabemos por qué. Algunos Androids lo tiene, algunos no. Es un 50-50, así que...
Alright, so let's talk about the radio. This guy has the brand new Super Tuner 3D. That's right, 3D. Woo! Sorry, I had to. Cheesiness aside. It's still using a Super Tuner. This is just the latest evolution of it. Yeah, moving on. Go ahead.
Ok, so esta es la nueva evolución del Super Tuner. Siempre lo han usado, pero en realidad este es lo nuevo y se llama Super Tuner 3D.
Alright, this also has... What makes the Super Tuner 3D so cool is the fact that it has an HD tuner. Now, if you notice right over here, for those of you who don't know what HD tuner is this says HD, and it just popped up digital. So we'll go down a station, and we'll come back. Oh, hit the wrong buttons. We'll scan up. Okay, so it says HD analog. So what you want to do is wait for that sucker to pop up and say digital. And there it is. Now, what you'll notice is you'll get the RDS, which is all this cool little text over here. Some stations will populate the album artwork. Some don't. It all depends on where you live and how cool they are. But you'll notice right here where it says HD1. Then that means that there's two stations. So if we go ahead and click that, it'll come up and say HD2. It'll take us to a totally different station. And we can make it a preset too. Open the door, press and hold. Boom, you have a preset. So now what happens is when you're on one station and you want to go to an HD, you press it. It'll come up and say linking. And while it's linking, it takes a couple seconds. Boom, it'll pop up and say the HD channel.
Okay.
How cool is that?
So recuerden que en realidad HD puede tener dos tipos de canales en uno solo. So traten de ver cómo funciona.
Yeah, funciona. Okay, a couple other things that it has before we get on to the EQ and the GPS. As we said in the beginning, this will do Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. If you want to see those, we have videos on those things. So check those out. The other thing that I'll do new this year that is kind of cool is for those of you musical aficionados, it will do FLAC. FLAC files. So if you want to put FLAC on an SD card, plug it into the USB, you can listen to your FLAC files. If you want to know more about FLAC, go ahead and Google it. It'll tell you all about it. Needless to say, it just sounds really good.
So, recuerden que este tiene ahora sí que el nuevo procesador que utiliza para la música, que se llama FLAC. Tienes que bajar obviamente ese tipo de formato y lo utilizas vía USB.
Now, as far as the CarPlay and the Android Auto, for CarPlay, all you need is an iPhone with a lightning connector. You just plug it in and it appears. It's pretty much that hard. Android Auto is a little bit more difficult. First off, it's early. It's only been a month, so phones are just starting to roll out and actually starting to function. If you're looking at this in December, chances are good there's a ton of phones out and all kinks are gone. It's working magically. But the things you need right now is a phone compatible with Lollipop, which is the current version. It's up to 5.1 right now.
Yeah, why?
Because I've already had to fix things. You need the cable that came with your phone, which is the USB to micro USB, plugged into the radio's USB 2.
Yes. Those.
2, 1 don't work, 2 does. And then you have to download the Android Auto app onto your phone. Once you do that, it'll also ask you to download other apps, but if you can get to that point, you're golden. Anything?
Yeah. Ok, so recuerden que para trabajar con CarPlay, iPhone simplemente utilizas el cable de tu teléfono, lo conectas, deslaqueas tu teléfono y trabaja. Para las personas que tienen Android, vas a tener que hacer un poquito más de pasos. Tienes que bajar un tipo de aplicación, conectar, pair the Bluetooth.
Pair the Bluetooth, yes, my bad.
Conectar el Bluetooth de tu teléfono hacia el radio y en realidad trabajaría. Ahorita apenas están trabajando con los teléfonos de Android, so probablemente cuando tú veas este video ya trabajan todos.
Yeah, and what he was saying there is on the Android Auto, you do need to pair the Bluetooth. You do not need to pair the Bluetooth for Carplay.
No.
So the EQ that this comes with is pretty much the same EQ that it had last year. Not much has changed. It's actually the exact same EQ. So we'll go through that real quick. We have a more in-depth video on it if you want to learn more about it. First things first is it has a 13-band EQ.
Ok, tiene 13 bandas de ecualizador.
It has balance and fader.
Balance.
Mute level. Rear speaker on and off. What that is used for is if you have the rear seat entertainment hooked up and your kids are listening to a video, you can turn that off so they don't have to listen to your music. You can also turn off the subwoofers as well. You have speaker level control, so you can adjust the volume for each speaker. You have crossovers.
Ok, so tenemos el crossover y obviamente para controlar cada tipo de bocina también.
You also have listening positions and time alignment. And then down here at the very bottom, you have the auto EQ setup. That was for that EQ that was mounted, that little, oh hell, let's just show it to you.
Y recuerden que tenemos el Auto EQ.
That's this guy right here. What's the model number on that EQ?
It's CDMC20.
That's the model number CDMC20 for the Auto EQ mic. You can pick it up for about 20 bucks on that online store that sells everything. Alright, so let's take a look at the navigation system. Now there's a couple cool things about the navigation system that we want to tell you about. First things first, it uses the total traffic network from Clear Channel.
Ok, so utiliza el tráfico total.
Now what that'll do for you is they've got 90 major cities covered right now, but it'll give you traffic updates right on the map itself.
Ok, so utiliza un poquito más de 90 ciudades y te da las actualizaciones.
Now the maps they're using are provided by Here, which their logo's Maps for Life. You don't actually get Maps for Life. You'll get free upgrades from date of purchase for the first 45 days. So at 44 days, you want to go on and check to see if there's been an update. If there is, you can update your unit.
Ok, so recuerden que desde el día que tú compras el radio, tienes 45 días para actualizar todo tipo de mapas que tengas.
Now the nice thing about Here is they have, which gave this radio, 7.9 million points of interest. Wow. Okay, now how it's handling those is there's a 16 gigabyte memory card in here. That's where all that stuff is stored. Now, as far as the map goes, you can view it in three ways.
Okay.
Okay. You can view it as 2D heads up, 2D north up, or a 3D driving off into the sunset version.
Ok, so recuerden que tiene 16 gigabytes de memoria y tiene 3 tipos de vista de los mapas, que tiene el 2D, el 2D y el 3D.
Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Now, the one question we always get phone calls on, because sometimes we forget, is the speed limit warning. This has a speed limit warning in it. So if you if it's 45 and you're doing 50, this thing's going to make a stupid noise. So while we're giving you the demo, we'll go ahead and show you how to turn that thing off.
Ok, so recuerden que tiene el tipo de nivel a la velocidad que tú vas. Te vamos a enseñar cómo lo puedes apagar para que no te moleste.
Alright, so there's a ton of different languages this thing will speak for you. You just want to pick one and move forward. I mean, there's a ton. It's almost retarded. Alright, let's go. Now, as usual, there's a big thing in the user agreement. Go ahead and click accept. Please take a minute to set this up. Now, you can always go back and change all these, and the reason why you may want to is if you had this installed, none of these settings may be the way you want, so you can go back in and adjust them. We'll show you where. Now, if you did have it installed, chances are good the installer just clicked next when they got to this page. And the reason why you might want to change it is for this little feature right here that says TTS. What does TTS stand for?
Text.
Text to speech.
Text.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Okay.
Tongue
So,
twister.
Se recuerden que asegúrate de que este esté en el nivel de TTS.
Now, if you tap it,
Have a nice trip. Drive carefully.
you notice she actually talks to you. So instead of saying turn left, turn right, she's actually going to try to enunciate the name of the street that she wants you to turn on. Now, most languages have a TTS version that you can turn on. Alright, we'll go to the next screen. When you're in this screen here, this is units and formats. So, for example, we're in the US, we don't use Celsius, we use Fahrenheit. You can also add in your currency, weight, pretty much anything you want to change.
Ok, so tú puedes actualizar o cambiar cualquier tipo de cosas que tú en realidad utilices o en el tipo de país en que tú estés.
Now, this is the route preference. This means what roads are you willing to drive on. So, for example, do you want to drive on highways? Do you want tolls, ferries? So you can go in and you can turn these things on and off. Like if you're qualified to drive in a carpool lane, you can turn that on and it'll use those to map. Now, every now and then we'll get someone that comes in and says, my map doesn't work. And what they've done is they've gone in and changed navigation mode to off-road. You don't want to do that. Trust me. I mean, you could try it if you're bored. Yep, we're finished. We're done.
Let's go.
Let's go. So she's going to go ahead and zoom in, zoom around, find out where we're at. Do your thing. It's communicating. Alright, so that's the basic setup on the navigation system. That'll get you where you want to go. Now the question is, how do I go somewhere? You're going to hit this icon, and you're going to have your options. So you got a new route, route planner, traffic, useful information, and then settings and about. Now settings are kind of cool. We're going to go there and see where it says warnings. We'll tap that, and it says speed warnings. We'll click that, and then we'll do this, and we'll say that, and all that crap will go away. Yay!
Ok, so recuerden que para desactivar lo de la velocidad está en los settings y te estamos enseñando cómo hacerlo.
I'm not saying everyone likes the speed, but let's be honest, everyone likes the speed. Now, when you type in, I'm sorry, we'll go back. New route. You can enter a county, city, you know, this is just like any other GPS you've ever had. These are your places, saved locations, and of course coordinates. So if someone actually gives you some coordinates, you can go there. How cool is that? And then you can pinch and zoom.
3D, huh?
Yeah. Spin it around. This is the joy of capacitive touch. Alright, well hey, that brings us to the end of this. Thank you for sticking with us. If you have any questions or anything like that, please feel free to leave them in the comments. We'll get back to you at some point. Give us a day. We do this quite frequently.
Yes.
And you can find us where?
On Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
That's right. And thanks for watching, guys. And you have
por vernos.
a good night. What was that?
Gracias por vernos.
I thought you said tacos and burritos.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Good night, guys.